a child come out and sing along.
Absolutely. Oh, you better watch out. You better not cry. You better not pout. I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town. He's making a list. He's checking it twice. Gonna find out who's cloudy and nice. Santa Claus is coming to town. He sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. He knows if you've been bad or good, so be good for goodness sake. You better watch out. You better not cry. You better not pout. I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town. He sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. He knows if you've been bad or good, so be good for goodness sake. You better watch out. You better not cry. You better not pout. I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming. Who is Santa Claus is coming. Santa Claus is coming to town.
Getting ready for Christmas. Santa Claus is coming to town, so you better watch out. You better not cry. And I'm going to start with an ask. Now, I'm going to give you, this is the ask up front, so that you can have a few minutes to think about it. You don't have to say yes yet. But you see my hand holds a microphone. I know that many of you like to bring joy to people in your lives by telling jokes. And I know that many of you know church appropriate jokes. So there's going to come a point in our service when I'm going to invite you, bring this out, hand it to you when your hand comes up, so that you can tell a church appropriate joke. You all know what a church appropriate joke is? I can tell by the laughter that you do. Joy is one of the most important parts of our Advent series. You know, we started out this month in preparation for that birth of the Christ essence, the divine within, by focusing on faith. And then we took a look at peace and love. And now we get to talk about joy. Each one of these attributes turned to action is part of what it takes to allow the Christ within, the divine self, that sacred inner highest self, to express fully into the world. And so this exercise that we've been through this month in taking a look at each and every one of these attributes, it's not about making you feel better Sunday morning and then you come on back and you get to feel better next Sunday morning, although I hope that that's part of it. It's about the practice through the week. That you take these things and practice them throughout the entire week. Because I do believe that the one job that we have in life is to allow that Christ expression, the divine self, the highest self, whatever the language is that works for you, because you know you got it, to become fully manifest, so that God works in you, as you, through you. That is what is that we celebrate in the Christmas season, that this is the second coming, right? That Jesus was born, maybe not on December 25th, but you know, and we've misappropriated the pagan holiday of solstice. Yeah, and it's okay. Because the story of darkness to light, the story of moving into joy over and over and over again, it is our life story. Whatever the darkness is that each one of us has experienced, over and over again, we get to move into light. Whatever fear or world pressure we've experienced from, it doesn't even matter where it's from. When we focus on that truth of who and what we are, when we bring faith, peace, and love, and joy, purposely, intentionally, into our experience, light returns. The light returns to our lives. So, who likes to have a light life? There's two. Great. 3. Got it. Okay. And I'm ready now. I'm going to go pick up the mic. And we can pepper this throughout the service. Who has a Christmas-appropriate, church-appropriate joke? I got one hand in the back. Thank you so much. I heard a joke this morning, but I think this is going to be much more fun. Oh, yeah, get it flipped then. Oh.
Now? Yay, all right, great. So a young boy was visiting Santa and sitting in Santa's lap telling him what he wanted for Christmas. And he told Santa, I want a train set. And Santa said, well, you know, your dad's going to want to play with that too. And the young boy was silent. And wanting to move things along, Santa said, well, what else can I bring you? And the young boy said, a second train set.
Lou?
I just recently bought a new car, and it's a Honda, and I'm really proud of it because I heard that Jesus drove a Honda. It says in the Bible, Jesus and his disciples left in one accord.
Our house has a detached garage, and Mary Ellen does most of the shopping. And so the other day when it was pouring, she was, she had a lot of bags to bring in. So, she was like dashing back and forth. And then she got in a good mood, just kind of dancing back and forth. So she was a dasher and a dancer. Coming out of the reindeer.
All right, we're going to just set that aside for a few moments. This experience of joy that you're having right now, isn't it amazing? I would love to wave a magic wand and let you have that experience at every moment through your life. And sometimes darkness falls. So I'm going to tell you an updated version of the story of the farmer whose son didn't go to war because he broke his leg, blah, blah, blah. Yep, that one. So this is a real life experience. Once upon a time, there was a minister who took great joy in helping to provide an experience, a spiritual experience, for people beyond her community. And so she called the people in her community together. And together, they presented a winter solstice spiral walk. And it was beautiful. The minister, after setting the spiral, after 3 hours of lifting, bending, setting, lifting, bending, bending, setting, lifting, 3 hours. Took a break and went and got some lunch. Sat in her car. And she rested and had lunch in the car. When it came time to return to prepare for the actual event, she turned the car around and ran into the curb. Not bad. It was all right. And she thought to herself, yeah, that's okay. I'm all right. Car drove all the way back to work. And then there was this beautiful event. And people came from the community to support this gift to the greater community. It was sacred and holy, and there were darkness and lights, children and adults, and people from all generations, all walks of life. And then as the evening came to a close, people helped to pack up. And even as the minister was the last one to leave, when she got in her car, she saw that there was one person who waited to make sure that the minister was leaving, that it was all good. Yep, I'm fine, she said. So that lovely woman left, and the minister started driving and realized her tire was flat. Now, in the farmer story, it goes, that was good, that's bad, that's good, that's bad. And I'm sort of starting to have that experience, because you sort of know that this was about me, right? That's good, that's bad, that's good, that's bad. And yet, I have this idea inside of me that says, yeah, it's all okay. And what happened was I couldn't figure out what to do. So I called my daughter, and she said, oh yeah, no, we'll just come and get you. I'll get the kids out of bed, all 4 of them. I said, that's good. And so she came and she got me, and then, went home, slept, it was great. Figured out the next day how to get a ride to get the car, called the tow company, and that was good. All of it was good. And then the tow company finally showed up 3.5 hours later. Well, that was not so good. And then the tow driver got out and said, well, where are your tools? Did you know that tow trucks require you to have your own jack? And yeah, apparently this one does. And I thought, that's bad. But Jesse was here, our custodian. And so I go to Jesse, you know what, he'll change the tire if we can go to the store and buy the tools that we need. So Jesse says, okay, and we go to AutoZone and we buy the tools, and then we return, and the tow driver's gone. So at this point, you get the point. It becomes a joyful experience just in the ridiculousness of it. Yeah. Right? I mean, it's like one thing, that's good, that's bad, that's good, that's bad, that's good. I sort of got whiplash. And the thing that I know about it is that it's all good. I don't know what the point of all that was yet. And many times we don't know what the point of things that we would label as not good. Many times we're left in the dark about these things. But over and over again, I have the opportunity to correct myself. You have the opportunity, as I know that those things never happen to you. Oh, wait a minute, they do? Yes, that you have the opportunity to correct yourself and to see joy in every situation. I mean, for me, it got to the point where it was just, might as well laugh. So at 3:30 I called my friend and I said, this is what's going on and I still don't have a tire on my car. And she said, oh no, I'm gonna go get a petty mani, you wanna come with me? And I said, yes. And that was good. It was very good. You know, science has this thing about studying emotion. Now in 1899 is the first report that I can find in the Journal of Science that talks about the emotion of joy. And they go back and forth about, is joy practiced from within, or is it a result of experience? And over in that scientific journal, it said it's a practice of experience. But what they found most interesting, and I want to read this quote. Yeah, I did that. Okay. Most interesting and valuable part of the report is on the effects which joy and unhappiness have on the involuntary muscular movements, our health, our bodies. Inviting joy, regardless of our circumstances in life, heals our body. Is that good news? Yes. Not only that, it heals our relationships. So that was the science from 1899. 40 years ago, they started doing some more research, and what they found is that people who do not purposely go out of their way to experience joy are lonely. They are lonelier. 40 years ago, they had a rate of loneliness across the United States and Europe at 7 to 8%. That was it, 7 to 8% of the population. And yet today, 30%. It is higher. So that makes it incumbent upon us not just to share our joy, not just to engage with our joy, but to allow that to affect other people, because joy is contagious. Okay, are you ready? Who's got the next joke? Lloyd's been thinking about it.
Well, it seems this $20 bill and a $1 bill found themselves together in the same wallet. And they became good friends. And after a few months, the $20 bill disappeared, and of course the one was feeling lonely. And after about 3 years, the $20 bill happened to come back in the same wallet. And the one was so happy, and he said, where have you been? What have you been doing? Well, he said, first I went down to Boca Raton, then down to the Bahamas, and then over to Monaco, and 3 years later, here I am back here. And the 20 says to the one, what have you been doing for the last 3 years? Oh, you know, church, church, church.
There was a Sunday school class at Christmas time, and their task was to make a Christmas scene, a creche set. And so the little girls were setting out to do that. Teacher comes wandering around and talking to this little boy and said, well, what's your scene? Oh, that's Joseph there. Yeah, see, he's got standing there by Mary, and there's the creche with a baby in it, and there's a sheep and a donkey. And she said, yeah, she pointed to one figure which was kind of plump and so forth. Well, who's that? Oh, he says, that's Round John Virgin.
So most of us have been familiar with the Christmas story and know about the 3 wise men, and they brought gold and frankincense and myrrh. But in my spiritual explorers class, I learned actually there was a 4th magi. But he brought fruitcake, so they turned him away.
So more recently, what we know about joy in science and happiness, and science comes from positive psychology and neurobiology, we know that it produces serotonin and dopamines. And serotonin and dopamines are responsible for our motivation levels. They're responsible for our ability and willingness to connect with other people. These are the things that make our bodies run. We still, in science, are taking a reductionist view of our bodies and our emotions. We teach it all goes together. It's mind, body, spirit. We're not divided up. However, it's fun to have the science, isn't it? What just happened, if you were one of those that laughed at those jokes, is you had a release of dopamine and serotonin because you said yes. And you feel better. This idea that we are alone in the world is pervasive out there. And this Christmas, more than any other gift that I could give you, I would invite you to not be alone, to share your joy, to be willing to tell the joke, to be willing to look in somebody else's eyes and laugh at their joke, even if it's dumb. One of the other things that research has found is that the things that we see can bring joy as well, such as paintings, art, but also our everyday surroundings. I read one article that talked about buildings in particular. It showed pictures of office spaces and schools and straight lines and gray or beige walls and lockers. And then she showed pictures of buildings with rounded corners and bright colors. And the difference for people just walking into those buildings, she guesses, because of her research, is that the people that walk into those buildings that are rounded corners and bright colors, that immediately their serotonin and dopamine levels rise just by viewing that on the way in. So what is it that you can do in your life? I got this coat because I like the colors. And I was talking to somebody earlier today about color, specifically in our relationship to color when it comes to the emotion of joy. And I said, part of the reason I think that I've been so challenged in picking out colors for walls and houses is because these are the colors I like. These colors bring me joy, and I'm thinking that they're not appropriate for a wall. And she agreed that her color, red, may not be, she doesn't have a red wall in her house. But you know what I'm thinking now? I might put a purple wall in my house. Go for it. Yes.
My ceiling is bright green.
Bright green. Bright yellow.
Purple wall.
Purple wall.
I have to wake up 5 o'clock. When I turn on the light, the sun is out.
The sun is out already when you have a bright yellow ceiling. This is allowing the Christ, the divine, the highest self to be born in us, that we can share it with the world. We take real concrete steps. You know, in Unity, we talk about being practical. That this is an application of practical Christianity. It's not about belief only. It is about taking real concrete steps that allow you to live your highest self, to be the blessing unto others. Because that's what I believe, that's what Unity teaches, that Jesus was here for, is to be the example. He prayed into becoming his highest self. He took action. He took risks. And of course, he paid the highest price of all for the risks he took. One of the people that is bringing me great joy on the political scene right now is a young 16-year-old woman by the name of Greta Thunberg. I can't hardly say her name without crying. I've been showing videos of her to my granddaughters. Just amazing what a clear, strong voice can do for the world, can do for me, for bringing about an experience of faith and hope, for bringing about an experience of love. My heart just opens to her. For bringing about an experience of peace, that I don't have to hate. I can be at peace, knowing that this is what happens in the world. Even experiences of great division call forth the very highest and best. And that fills me with joy. I hope that fills you with joy as well. I want to read the definition of joy from the Revealing Word. This is Charles Fillmore, our co-founder's made-up dictionary. Joy, the happiness of God expressed through his perfect idea, humanity. Joy and gladness are strength-giving, especially if the mind is fixed on the things of spirit. And unlike many of the other definitions he gives, he puts an affirmation in here. The joy of the Lord is my strength. Join me. The joy of the Lord is my strength. The joy of God, of the divine, of the presence, of the power that lives and moves and is the very foundation of who and what we are. This is what powers us through everything. So it gets us through flat tires. It gets us through illness. And it is in times of flat tires and illness that we can benefit from that power of joy, from the serotonin, from the dopamine. I love it that he wrote this definition about the same time as the scientific article came out in 1899. We know that it makes a difference. I hope that many of you plan on coming to our Christmas Eve service. And I know that many of you will have other plans on Christmas Eve. So especially for those that we won't see on Christmas Eve, I wish you a very, very Merry Christmas, and that this Christmas, this year, is one that you have an experience of the Christ reborn in your heart. God bless you.
I invite joy, joy, joy. I invite peace within. I invite love, pure love, to come home again. Sing with me. I invite joy, joy.
And so we prepare for meditation. I invite you to set aside anything that might be in your hands at this moment and allow your hands to rest fully. Just come to an awareness of the body as it sits in the chair. We relax, letting the chair fully support you, knowing that the floor supports the chair and Mother Earth supports all of it. Closing your eyes if that's comfortable, or finding a focal point upon which your eyes might rest. I invite you to breathe deeply and release. Bringing the focus to the breath, allowing it to move through you like a wave. It allows the mind, the emotion to find a place of rest, a centering point within you. And so I invite you to allow these words to be your own. I am at peace. I am one with love. The joy of God moves in me, through me. As I align my thoughts and my emotions with that divine presence that is the truth of my being, I expand in my awareness that all people on the planet, in our community, in our homes, and in our hearts, share this truth. We know the truth of peace, love, and joy in our hearts today for all humanity. We know it for Mother Earth. We know peace, love, and joy for all the angels, those who have gone before us, and those still yet to come. This practice of knowing is the faith, the hope for humanity, for our planet. And so we turn to that Christ essence that lives within us now. With these gifts, faith, peace, love, and joy. And say, live through me. I invite you to be with this experience in the silence. To be with peace, faith, love, and joy. And invite them to live through me. I am the joy of the Lord. Together. I am the joy of the Lord. We're so grateful for the opportunity to know this truth. Grateful to be the expression, the experience of joy on this day. And we pray that our thoughts, our minds, our bodies, and all of our actions continue to live in this truth as we go forward from here. We pray this in the name and the nature and the spirit of Jesus the Christ. Amen.